What's up, guys? It's Tin Rocks. So today I'll be talking a little bit about the Arcane series on Netflix related to the video game League of Legends. I today, since I don't have too much time, I'm just gonna put this video out for like a short video, sort of to talk about like the introduction of Arcane. This does have a little bit of spoilers to it, but not very much. So if I suggest that if you haven't watched the video or the series of season 1 yet, I highly recommend you go and watch it because this show is absolutely phenomenal, and I think it's probably one of the best shows in of the decade, honestly, in terms of speaking with regards to animated series and video games, specifically video game adaptation series. We've seen a lot of animated series based on video games that have absolutely just been just flopped because it only caters to a specific audience. One of the strengths, I feel one of the best strengths of Arcane is that the way that it's animated and the storytelling, the sort of the art style, the storytelling, the careful use of visual foreshadowing, visual metaphors, is really very well done, and it's done in a way that doesn't give away too much information, and it's also put in a way that an everyday viewer on Netflix can even understand. This is one of the downsides usually of video game adaptations, is that if we look at, like, for instance, like World of Warcraft or any of those other scenes or movies, video game adaptations, we'll see like areas that are like full of dialogue and stuff, and like a lot of characters are brought into those dialogues that only the people who played the game will understand, and the people who haven't will just have no clue what is going on. In this scene, Arcane, it is one of the first scenes, but I think is one of the best scenes in terms of establishing sort of where the story is kind of taking place. And this is a very common theme that's told about if you take any standard like English class. It's a case of show don't tell. So when sometimes we'll see areas of dialogue where they say, oh, the building was very tall, or like certain adjectives to use to describe a particular noun, that kind of stuff, right? And instead of actually showing it, so, and sort of feeling it. So we're going to go through this first scene and kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about here. So in this particular scene, I'll just tell you right now, they're climbing up to a rooftop of some building to sort of to get us an establishing shot.
Nice getting above it all, huh?
So right away, right from the get-go, in Arcane, we get this wide-angle shot of where part of the story will be taking place. It's this absolutely giant city with very fancy-looking buildings, a very large palace-looking structure over here. We see these flying blimps, and we kind of get the idea that, oh, this is a very bustling city. It must be very successful in terms of like its profitability, its progression. Because we see like things like these. This is like I assume this is kind of like a planet system, because League of Legends is based on the planet Runeterra, so it could be a progression or a sort of symbol of Runeterra itself, but I'm not too sure about that. But as I said before, right away we get a wide-angle shot establishing the setting of where part of the story is going to take place, and I believe like this is very important in terms of displaying where a story is going to take place. I feel like I'm kind of like a broken record here, but I can't stress out how much importance there is in terms of like both character building and environment building, establishing that sort of field to which the story will take place. And we get this giant blimp that's just flying by.
One day, I'm gonna ride one of those things.
One day?
Yeah, so that's sort of like the where we kind of get the scene. This is the scene area of Piltover. This is one of the areas where the story will be taking place. And also, right underneath, if you've for people who have played League of Legends, they kind of know that Piltover, there's a area underneath Piltover known as the Undercity, and we're sort of greeted with the Undercity later on in this first episode. I'll just scroll over. There's some really good scenes here. Sort of, we can see like the streets are very clean, very sort of compact and organized. Not too many people. outside, it looks like, at this time specifically. But we get an absolutely amazing details, like the shadows, the casts. That's what I'm talking about in terms of animation style, is that this is something on the lines of like the Spider-Man Homecoming or Spider-Man No Way Home animated series, those kinds of things. It's definitely up there in terms of animation style. And if we go here, they turn a corner, and this is actually a very this is where they actually go down a garbage dump into the Undercity, or they're about to be going into the Undercity later on. I still think this is in Piltover. I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure this is sort of like the area between Piltover and the Undercity. But this scene right here, they're taking an elevator down to the Undercity. And we'll sort of show you again. This is kind of like the established setting of the Undercity underneath Piltover. So we kind of get, like, you can obviously see the contrasting settings. One place, Piltover, is very bright, very progressive, and very clean. This place looks like an honest dump. it looks like a dump. It looks like it's just the way that the lighting is looking. You can see it's very dark. Not a lot of light is getting through to the bottom. There's a lot of shops, side shops on the side, and it looks like this could be like a place of a lot of like dark stuff, like gang activity, drug use, that kind of stuff. And that's also very realistically portrayed, because we know that definitely things that happen in the real world, of course. Yeah, so we can see like the sale of weapons, sale of drugs. We can see like prostitution, sort of that arching impression that this is where like the bad stuff happens. Essentially, this is where people actually need to like fight to survive. It's like a drug brewery shop, not a drug shop, but like a beer shop where you can buy like drinks and things like that. So again, establishing shot. We get the brightness of Piltover in this shot here versus the sort of dark, dreary sense of the Undercity, which is later in the lore is called Zon, but that doesn't happen until later in the story. But this is what I mean, that with the way that these scenes are established, it gives the viewers a way to sort of jump into the world and sort of feel the world for themselves and how it is. It's amazing to see how they've actually designed these, because there's such contrasting and different sort of cities in both their values, the way they look, how they've progressed, and the way that it's populated. You can see a bunch of people here. You get the sense that, oh, the city's been here probably even before the series has been animated itself. It's there, it's alive, you know. People are moving, people are talking, people are interacting, which I feel is very important also in terms of character setting, because it also gives you an idea of what characters are within which city. So you get, in Piltover, you'll get, for instance, characters of status, of wealth, and of power. And in the Undercity, you'll get like these, for instance, like gang members, which you can see that, oh, these guys are in charge of the Undercity. Those guys are probably in charge of like the like drug trades and things like that. The sort of weapons tradings that go on. But basically what the stuff I wanted to emphasize in this video is that if you haven't watched Arcane, you definitely should. If I were to rate this series, it would definitely be a 12 out of 10 in my book. It's absolutely amazing. Even if you haven't played League of Legends, the way that the story is told, the foreshadowing, the metaphors, visual foreshadowing, the character building, the scene building, the contrasting sort of themes of light and darkness, of good and bad, is there. But as you move through the story, you'll realize that it's sort of that the kind of idea of good and bad is sort of like, it's obvious, but it's not very obvious. It's kind of like very subtle. You have to, because the way that each character is fleshed out, you kind of get an idea of what their motives are and why do they do the things that they do. So, and it's not just the main characters. I would even argue that most people would say that the main characters are, Vi, Caitlyn, and Jinx. But there's a lot of other characters that would also seem like main characters. the thing is that the characters are so well like fleshed out. It's hard to distinguish what a main character is because each character has some relative importance in this series. So, if you enjoyed the video, please let me know. If you want me to cover a specific topic within the series, because I've already watched it, I'll probably watch it a third time because I've already watched it a second time. Please let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys soon.